Buongiorno a tutti, good morning everyone. Welcome to World Manufacturing Week. I am Şeyda Kanepa and I will moderate the following session titled Skills Evolution for Industry 4.0 and Integrated Analysis to Enhance Talents, Attractions and Retention. We are facing an early stage of the fourth industrial revolution. And even though it's just started, Industry 4.0 is changing the rules of the competition, requiring new forms of collaborations, shaking up the structure of entire industries. In the manufacturing industry, this situation is pushing the companies to find high-quality training equipment to prepare their workers to this new challenge. Digital manufacturing is the combination of the physical world and the cyber world. In this field, there are core skills that technology cannot replace. Consequently, human touch has become more important than ever. What robots and machines cannot do, human capital can, such as guaranteeing an effective communication, problem solving, and of course, supporting change management in this digital environment. In this session, we will have three distinguished speakers, and with them, we will analyze how the companies, workers, and of course, future workers could be guided to enhance their skills and to be prepared properly to take organizational decisions the right way. Because the companies are transforming the ways which they serve their customers. Do they have a solid strategy to face these new rules of competitiveness? Do they have right people with necessary set of skills? Do they have an adequate technology? We will analyze all with our three speakers. Mr. Domiziano Pontone from G Group, Mrs. Cristina Reduzzi from G Group, and finally, Mr. Dariusz Arabnia from JCO. And now I would like to introduce you Mr. Domiziano Pontone. He will make his presentation here to help us to better understand how is the situation in manufacturing world. Thank you very much.
Good morning to everyone. As you know, the topic is the one that is addressed by the slide you may see here, therefore a skill evolution for Industry 4.0, an integrated analysis to enhance talents, attraction and retention. But let's see first of all, beside my face, which is maybe less interesting than what I'm going to talk about afterwards, who is J Group? J Group is the Italian company providing HR services biggest in the world. We were born in 1998, and from 2007 we started exploring the world by stepping into different countries, looking after the needs of our customers. Right now, we are almost in 60 countries. We are the number 17 at global level and 6 at European level, taking into consideration that we keep acquiring companies and growing organically. To give you a couple of numbers, in 2019 the turnover has been 2.5 billion, in 2020 has been again 2.5 billion despite the COVID ongoing. And the forecast for this year is going above 3.3 billion. Therefore, it's a company that is overcoming all the possible issues coming from the trend of the market and proposing a very clear idea of growth. What we do for companies? In a sentence, we help companies in the construction of future-oriented HR systems consistent with continuously evolving context. I would like to underline the adjective consistent. We need to be consistent Because if we are not, all the efforts we are putting in place are going in nowhere. In order to do so, we have developed the so-called star matrix methodology. You will see that this star matrix afterwards in the next slide, why star. The star matrix methodology is an ownership model that identifies the changes and importance and roles and skills expected in the medium-term period, 3-5 years, in the medium-term period. And the way we are doing this kind of analysis through the star matrix methodology is through a combined analysis of 3 aspects. Let's see the 3 aspects. The very first one is connected with the contextual factors. And when we say internal and external, the question you should pose to yourself as a CEO, you should pose to yourself as a HR director, and so on and so forth, plant director, operations director, is how is the market? How is going the market where I'm working in? First. And second, and this is an external contextual factor. The internal one is how I do want to see perceived by the market I'm part of, and what I'm able to do in order to step into the market, looking at the near future in a coherent way, in a consistent way. The second factor we take into consideration is based on the expected relevance of the roles. Because the roles we had into the companies 10 years ago are not the roles we had 5 years ago, are not the roles we have today, and certainly right after the pandemic, and due to the evolution of the market itself, are not going to be the roles that we will probably need for tomorrow onwards. Therefore, those roles we may have, and in the next slide we will have an example, may be stable, roles that right now are going to keep being the same as it was in the past, can be increasing or can be eventually decreasing. To make an example of a stable role, I would say a CFO. A CFO is inevitably needed into the company. Therefore, it's certainly going to be a stable role in the future ongoing. About increasing and decreasing, we will see in a while. The third point we are going to combine for the analysis is connected with the current contribution of the role to the creation of an added value. And here we say that the contribution can be extraordinary or ordinary. What do we mean by that? First of all, we are dividing extraordinary and ordinary, taking into consideration the capability of the single role to make decisions, to be responsible for, to have an effective impact on the future of the company. If the role is considered ordinary, those are, let's say, roles that are going to be, let's say, the first layer of the company. But until there is no chance to modify the future of the company or to take decisions that can change the history of the company itself, those roles keep being ordinary. Extraordinary are the roles that are having a big impact on the future of the company. Let's make an example concerning the star matrix methodology. Here you see that there are stars, so it's not a coincidence we have decided to call it star matrix. So you may see, first of all, a company can decide if the role taken into consideration, if the roles into the company are extraordinary or ordinary. Am I responsible for the production itself? Therefore, my role is extraordinary. Am I a potential shift leader, plant manager, people that may change in some way let's say, the flow of the production of the company? Or am I ordinary? Could be someone that is working, like, for instance, a blue collar on the lines. Therefore, you can, first of all, split between ordinary and extraordinary. Then you need to check what is the contribution of the role today. The roles you have right now into the companies are stable, as we said before, you believe that the expected impact is increasing or decreasing. Let's make an example. Let's take the example of the maintenance. The maintenance, the more we go on, the more it's changing. It was already a trend given by the robotics and so on. But right now it's becoming even more clear. Because during the COVID times, the people that were used to travel to check whether the machines were working properly, yes or not, are not traveling anymore. And all the studies and all the production companies found a way to create the so-called predicted maintenance. Therefore, in some way, we may know in advance whether a machine is going to stop working in China, even though it's for an Italian company. And the people that historically were taking a flight, landing in Shanghai, in Ningbo, wherever it is, and going to see what was going on at this machine, are not going to travel again. Yet those people are into your list of the workers, are your employees. What are we going to do with those people? There are basically three possible ways. Let's assume that the old role of the maintenance, so first of all, it was a kind of physical role, working on the machine, was considered stable until 3 or 4 years ago. Already, lately, we started seeing that with the prediction of the potential damages or issues that may appear to the machines, these roles, those physical roles, shifted to the decreasing importance of the role itself. If we are able to work more on those roles, and if we can reskill them, upskill them, if we can teach them the way they may do this kind of job in remote, those people, instead of being someone that is redundant into the company, is going to be a jewel into the company. We need to work on the people. We need to train the people. We need to take into consideration something that we are going to see in the next one. It's not even a provocation. Industry 4.0 is the industrial revolution of the human resources. Why we need to keep the people on board? We need to bet on training. We need to bet on improving their knowledge. Because in a world where we are just talking about the lack of lithium, the chip shortage, the real shortage is connected with the availability of the human beings, of human resources able to carry on your own production. You can substitute part of the, let's say, usual production through robotics. Not everything can be done. And the same robots need someone behind that is going to work on them, to program them, and so on and so forth. Therefore, the real revolution is connected to the HR and the way we are betting on our internal employees in order to have them ready for the challenges of tomorrow. Because as we may see, there are revolutionary trends connected with manufacturing 4.0. The first one is connected with the market evolution, because the market right now, you see that there is kind of hysteria. Therefore, everything is becoming extremely quick. There are no more warehouses. The competition is extremely aggressive, is biting. There are socio-cultural evolutions. If you make interview to the young ones leaving the university, there is no more the myth of the job from A to Z until the end of life. It's exciting traveling. It's exciting staying in a CSR compliant environment. It's exciting having the chance to travel. And changing role, having rotation. The evolution of the business model as well. We are going more and more towards flat structures and so on. There are even, obviously, technological evolution. The technological evolution, it's clear, is under our eyes, and there is the need to constantly change. We see every day, if we are updated, that there are no changes that are coming through ages, through decades. They are coming month by month. We need to look after them. We need to run after them. And then, of course, the regulatory evolution. Here we have a couple of examples connected with the Italian situation. But if you look at your own single country, in every single country there are evolutions concerning the laws that are changing even the impact that we may have on the daily activity, company by company, production by production. And if you take into consideration that several companies are multinational, this becomes even more important because the laws And the evolution of the rules in China are not the ones we have in Germany, are not the ones we have in Brazil, in the US, or in Italy. But if we want to do a further deep dive, and what is effectively changing the world, first of all, those are markets, sociocultural, and technological evolutions. Let's split them in 4 main families. The first one is connected with the method. It is inevitable that human beings will be working and cooperating with the machines. It's not a possibility. It's not the future. It's already yesterday. Therefore, we need to cope with it, absolutely. Inevitably, this is bringing to a further complexity, you know, the VUCA word, volatile, unpredictable, complex. Therefore, complexity and continuous change is impacting every day the way we are leading our companies. And then we're shifting to the roles. If I think about my grandfather, even my father, they would have had the chance to start working in a single environment and keep going with what they have learned throughout the first years of apprenticeship or whatever it is. Today, the work is changing day by day, week by week. News are arriving. If you are not flexible, if you are not hybrid, we cannot cope with the challenges. We are going to be smashed out by the market. Therefore, the roles must be like Duff. We need to play with it. People must be open and ready to learn, and we need to provide what they have to learn. Therefore, there is more and more a demand for highly qualified personnel. It's no more a matter of having someone that is just able to go from A to B. We need people able to go from A to Z and learning the other letters in the middle. Then, of course, skills. Lifelong learning is absolutely essential. A person that is stable like a piece of marble is out of the market immediately. We need to work also on the flexibility of the mindset of the workers in order to help them to learn more, to be able to change more, to adapt themselves to the market conditions. And last but not least, we're talking about time, spaces, and places. Inevitably, what we see happening every day is that the greater flexibility brought by the pandemic let us understand how it is important to work more and more with simulators, augmented reality, the Internet of Things, and so on and so forth. Therefore, the more we go on, the more we believe that working on the human capital is the real change of tomorrow. Thanks a lot.
Many thanks to Mr. Domiziano Pontone for his very informative and articulated presentation. Now I would like to invite on the stage Mrs. Cristina Reduzzi from G Group. He will explain us the importance of human capital also in his presentation.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. I'm very glad to be here today, because I have the opportunity to illustrate in a few words, I promise, where we started, what is the current photograph of the manufacturing world, and how to take use from a valid tool like Star Matrix. The point of departure of this research is the change that must now be considered an inevitable and not exceptional element in the daily life of companies. Change represents a variable systematically included in all strategic thinking within companies. The factor that condition the evolution of the company, as we already seen before with the Domiziano, can be external, for example, technological innovation, natural evolution of the referential markets, or internal, for example, change of positioning, of strategy, or of the company's value proposition. So markets change, companies change, and people, also people. And so roles and skills must change. And these are crucial elements of any organization. So the STAR matrix becomes a tool to help the companies in the sector to launch an evaluation about their own company's population, planning activities and intervention for the integration, development, or reconversion of professional skills. Today, we are in a paradoxical context in which we simultaneously find an high unemployment rates together with a clear signs of skills shortage and clear signals of skills mismatch between the set of skills required for a specific role and skills that are available on the market. When we think of a manufacturing company today, we are faced with an image similar to the one in the slide. Everything is interconnected. Production, technology, logistics, safety, robotization, maintenance, suppliers, customers. And this type of structure generates new scenarios and creates new investments, growth, and results that transform organization, promoting new characteristics, for example, flexibility, speed, productivity, quality, and product competitiveness. And so if the frame is this, corporate strategies must start from a careful study of their population of workers. And who is present in the company today? And with what role and skills? What kind of people will I need in light of the new trends and type of business and tools? And how to develop your employees according to their individual expectation and attitudes. And how to look for new resources and be able to adequately explain why there is a value working for my company. At the end, what are people looking for today? Probably they are looking for organizations capable of conveying empathy, vision. They seek a common purpose. They expect a fertile environment in which to develop their digital mindset, comparison, enhancement, and sustainability. Entering in the art of a study, we are talking about manufacturing, so Industry 4.0. Of the total of 121 roles charted in research, 31% will register growth in the near future, 39% will remain stable, while 20% will experience a decline. The roles and occupations that, based on the analysis conducted, will grow the most regard the functions of research and development, more or less 73%, engineering 57%, and machine programming 50%. On the contrary, those that will see a decline in their importance, especially in the face of automation or outsourcing of the activity they carry out, are assembly, 50%, logistics, 38%, and manufacturing, 28%. Another example. According to STAR matrix model, one practical example is the engineering function. We have observed that in this function, we have 12% of roles in decline, For example, we are talking about time and method engineer, designer engineer, thermal analyst, and mechanical analyst. Instead, we have the 32% of roles remain stable. And also in this case, we are talking about a project manager, lean manager, product engineer, process engineer. But the very important number is the 57% of roles growing, and we are talking about solution designer engineer, IoT system project manager, sensor engineer, data scientist, AI engineer. These numbers are very important because they show clearly that the demand of highly qualified people is increasing, especially in research and development and in ICT fields, as well as in the creation of forecasting and predictive models and process optimization. Nowadays, teams are multifunctional in order to manage processes and their integration. In fact, we are witnessing a loss of relevance of the role with respect to the process, with an increase in demand of multifunctional roles. I will say almost hybrid with respect to specializations. Concluding, two considerations. The first consideration is to change the model of selection of candidates, not only based on the study and professional qualification, but favoring the search for skill. A model of this type starts with mapping out the core tasks to be performed for a specific role, and consequently allows you to identify the essential soft and hard skills necessary for effectively carrying out these activities. With a true reverse engineering operation, it is possible to identify 4 different elements. The first one is what educational and experiential paths provide the right skills. The second, what are the key attitudes to look for in candidates? The third, what motivations guide a candidate in the choices? And the last one, what are the educational gaps to fill? This model obviously doesn't allow identifying candidates who will be fully operational from the first day, but it has advantages in terms of total cost of the process and allows building the mix of technical professional skills to be used in the company. The second point, so at last, to consider is related to the strategies to be implemented in order to attract skills. In conditions where there is a shortage of skills, the challenge for companies is to be attractive to candidates and not the other way around, thus in a sense reversing the roles that we are used to thinking of for free-to actors. Thank you.
Many thanks to Cristina Reduzzi for her presentation. She mentioned about importance of human touch, human capital. As we said before, there are core skills that cannot be replaced by robots or machines. She mentioned also about the methodology of STAR matrix, such as Mr. Pontone. We will continue about this methodology with next speaker, Mr. Dariush Arabnia. He is from JACO. He will share with us his experience of a concrete application of the right methodology. We will have an interview with him, but before, please take a look to this presentation that is coming right now.
Thank you.
We believe that strength comes from unity, from passionate people, moving together at the same pace towards the same goal. We believe the best results come when the best minds meet the best resources in the best working environment. We believe that our people are the foundation of our achievements. We believe in innovation. Because you can only predict the future by creating it. We believe that real innovation is when technology meets humanity and augments our possibilities, building together an Industry 4.0. This is what we believe, that our people working together can merge technology and humanity to create the future we see waiting for us.
Mr. Arabe, thank you very much for being with us. I would like to ask you, first of all, about your company, JACO. Would you like to talk about JACO and explain what this company does and in
Absolutely.
which
So first of all,
areas?
thank you for having me here with you guys. Yes, JACO is a general contracting company. We design and develop paint shops for the automotive world, mainly for the shell of the body. We are talking about big factories, 50,000, 100,000 square meters factories, where car producers paint or treat the body of the car and they paint it. As you can imagine, are very customized products or systems, and they have huge impact on environment too, because when you have to deal with paint or chemical products, of course you have also to deal with the environmental issues that our company is very much focused on how to decline or to bring it to zero as an impact on the environment. So this is what we do, and as an Italian company, so just for your information, the market has only two major global players in this field. So one is us, and then there is another German company. And as an Italian company, we always focus very much on innovation, creativity, bringing a value, an added value to the customers, and especially focus on customization, flexibility, and as I was saying before, environmental impact of our systems.
Yeah, I saw that there is a big sensibility about environment,
Yes,
right?
very much, yes.
And the company was one of the first in the world to achieve a goal.
A goal, yes.
Please
This was long ago in 2005. We decided to change completely the strategy of the company. The company was very much cost-based, let's say.
Okay.
And then we decided to change completely. So instead of focusing on cost, on price, we should focus on value. And at that time, what we thought was the most important value was to have a positive impact on the environment that is around us, on the community that is around the paint shop that we built, because most of the cases, the paint shop are built in developing country. So you should not go there and just do something that only ruins the good things they have, but you should think about creating a value for the community. For this reason, in 2005, we started our what we call the Pardis project. Pardis means paradise in Farsi, in Persian. And the idea, the goal was to develop the first self-autonomous, from an energy point of view, paint shop in the world by 2020, June 16, 2020. We actually reached that goal in 2017. And now the next step for 2027 is to have a completely CO2-free impact paint shop, not only from an energy point of view, but also from the consumable point of view. So creating a circular economy through the paint shop.
Thank you very much for your answer. I would like to go back to previous speakers' presentations. Both Mr. Pontone and Mrs. Reduzzi have mentioned about star matrix technology. In your company, how do you use this technology? Can you give us concrete example of this methodology? It seems to be very functional and it works very well. So what are your suggestions also for our company about this methodology?
So let's start from the point. First of all, I was very lucky to be able to be part of the group that worked around the star matrix methodology. And it was very interesting because it made you understand how the world is really changing. Yeah. And not really that the world is changing in a constant way and in an equal way, but each company, each entrepreneurs or managers that were discussing around the table had to face a common issue, but with very specific problems for each company. And that makes you understand that one major change that we have to accept, that we have to understand, we were used also, this was said even before by my previous colleagues, but we were used to a very linear process. You know, but in life in general, in the company, you normally, in the past, we were used to deal with maybe 3 generations, and the young ones, the middles, and then you have the senior ones. And the life was starting, then you work, you grow, you become very vertical, and then one day, hopefully, you retire. That is not for my generation, but for the old ones. Now it's not like that anymore. Now in the company, you have many generations because the time between one generation to the other has shortened very much. This was said before, every 5 years, there's something new.
Right.
People that has 5 years difference are very different from each other. And they're not thinking anymore in a linear way. They have to change continuously. Know-how, competence has to change continuously. And we were used to say, especially in engineering, in a very specific company like ours, you need 4 or 5 years before you become independent. That cannot happen anymore. The company has to change in order to be able to deal with these kind of resources that if you see on the matrix, what is really interesting, both on the growing, like on the right side, most of the positions are very high know-how positions. And the question is, how can you create high know-how position in a shorter time, and especially with the generation, they don't want to do the same job for the rest of their life. So either they leave the company, or inside the company you have to manage to find ways to give them the opportunity to change continuously, to move. You work, you grow, then you change position, then you have to travel, you have to maybe go back to school and things like that. It's not anymore a linear world. Now, today we are talking about those positions. I'm 100% sure if we do the same star matrix in a matter of 2, 3 years, 4 years, it will be different. Ah. But this is a very important method because it allows you to think what is your next step. And this is what we are trying to do also in my company. We are trying to find ways to make the life of people unlinear. Let's say. It's not only about entering 9 o'clock, leaving, I don't know, whatever time they leave, and do the same job all day long. They need to continue on their job, but they also need to prepare for the next step, and the next step, and the next step. And this is becoming challenging, for sure.
Also dynamic.
Very dynamic, and both for the company and the people that are working in the company. But I believe that the moment that we will find the real way that you can really take advantage of this energy, because the energy is amazing, the amount of energy, then really we can talk about enhancing people. Because 4.0, e-industry, whatever you can talk, then it will be 5.0, then they will give them many other names. But what has been said until now, which is very true, is only a matter of people. Because people, you cannot change them continuously. I cannot simply say, okay, for 5 years I use you, then I send you away, and then I take another one for the new competence. No, I need experience. I need people that knows the company. I need people that are willing to grow. But as a manager, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, I need to find the right tools to help them to grow in the right direction. And that is the challenging and tricky part of it.
Yeah. It's a life learning process, as Mr. Domiziano Pontone mentioned before. Speaking of the learning, do you think the collaboration between academic work, students, and companies is more important now in this industry revolution era, let's say?
This is one, in my opinion, one of the key factors for future success. And it's not only a matter between academic and a company, but it's a real two-ways approach. So you have all the academics, you have all the companies also have to work among themselves. For instance, now in my area, I'm from North Milan, an area around, it's called Brianza, and there are many companies. It's a very historical area of Italy with a lot of manufacturing companies. And for instance, there what we are trying to do is to create a visiting or Erasmus program among companies, where we can allow people, our employees, our stars, to move from one company to the other.
This is interesting.
And we are trying to create this program. We are trying to start it in September next year, of course, because this is also part of changing. You know, you don't need to change, or you don't need to create new opportunities only inside your companies. It can also be done by creating a system with also university, creating a school, like in America, sometimes they call it a community school, but real community school, a program that is made to assist the local industry community. But this is not only a matter of telling schools or university, you have to do this, and I do this. No, let's do things together, a system between universities and all the companies in order to make this, the younger generation, but not only the younger, maybe even maybe we can even motivate the not so young to go back and learn again. Because something you learn in class and something you just learn by doing. And this is something that can happen. We should not be afraid, in my opinion, to lose people. Actually, sometimes if we see, you know, especially younger generation that maybe, should I go, should I not go? Go and then come back. There are programs that I'm hearing of people of companies that are saying, okay, within 5 years, you come back whenever you want. I can assure you that there is a space for you. And this creates system, creates network, creates dynamic in the marketplace. We should not be afraid of that.
So it's not a linear, but circular system that everyone can benefit of this system.
Exactly.
Did you find support for this idea from
Yes.
other companies? Or?
I find support of this idea, but finding support is never a problem. Support is always there. The next step is doing it, because then everybody has his own ideas. Everybody has then start. Okay, but then between competitors, should we do it? Should we not do it? Things like that. You should not just give up. You should just try to go ahead and really work to make things happen. And that is the key, because support is always easy to find.
Mr. Darwish Arame, thank you very much for being with us. And in this interview, we are ending this session here. Thank you very much for being with us. Arrivederci.
Thank you. Thank you.